Released from prisons in England and Wales today as part of the government's policy to ease overcrowding. It follows an earlier release of around 1,700 prisoners last month. Today, around 1,100 more inmates are due to be freed. That's because eligibility for early release has been expanded to include inmates serving sentences of 5 years or more. Now, it comes as the government launches a sentencing review that will consider tougher non-custodial punishments.
Mark Fairhurst is the National Chair of the Prison Officers Association. Joins us now to discuss this. Morning, Mark. Thanks for coming in. So we saw 1,700 releases a month ago. You're there on the front line. Has it worked?
It has. It has given us some much-needed breathing space, but that's only a temporary measure. We were hopeful that this would give us 18 months, but their own predictions now are it'll only last till next summer. So come next spring, we'll be under pressure, and next summer we'll be back full again.
So 1,100 more releases today. So we're talking over 2,500 in 2 months. How will today help?
Well, it will help, but most of those releases now are from the open estate, which means by the end of this week, we'll probably have 1,000 spaces in the open estate. So we need to fill those spaces up to create space in the reception prisons that service the courts.
The bigger issue, of course, is that more work needs to be done to improve facilities and infrastructure. Do you feel like there's any progress there?
There's none at all, and unfortunately we've got some new build prisons and we've got some new accommodation in existing prisons that are due to be built, and the company that was due to do that work has gone bust. It's gone into liquidation. So that further delays the modernisation and the expansion of the prison estate. But Labour have earmarked £4 billion of taxpayers' money to build new prisons. I would much rather see them plough that funding back into the system. We could do so much. We could modernise the entire prison estate. We could properly fund the probation service to properly manage and robustly manage community sentences. And we could create more mental health beds in our communities, because there's a lot of people in prison who are simply there because there's nowhere else to put them, because we've got a severe lack of mental health beds.
We spoke to the Justice Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, a little bit earlier, and she's saying that there's a review that she's also launching today to try to come up with alternatives which might relieve a bit of the extra pressure on prisons themselves. One of them is this idea of people doing their prison sentences at home, but under restrictions, using technology and tags to do that a bit more. How realistic do you think that is?
Well, if you're looking at that, you need to start with the remand population. These are people who haven't been convicted of a crime yet and are awaiting trial. So maybe you could do it with remands and, you know, reduce that population. But what you've got to understand is a lot of people in prison serving short sentences are there because they've failed community sentences and failed the restrictions placed upon them when they've been under something like an ankle tag or using technology like that. So, you know, that's why they've been recalled, because they've failed society and haven't adhered to those restrictions. So I'm all for alternative ideas, but we must understand that unless you adhere to those restrictions placed upon you, you're going to end up back inside anyway.
So what's the answer to that then?
The answer on sentence reform is to reduce the prison population by producing robust community sentences that the public have faith in.
So you're not against the community sentence, you just think they're not tough enough?
I don't think the public have faith in them. I mean, I watched a programme last week where community sentencing was picking up litter on a beach. Now, anyone can pick up litter on a beach, and I doubt that the little grandmother who's been burgled and is now terrified living at home would think that justice has been served by someone picking up litter on a beach. We need to serve our communities better and make sure the public have faith in robust community sentences.
As far as these thousands of prisoners who have been released early then, to free up some space, we asked the Justice Secretary a little time ago here on the programme how many of them were being recalled to prison, had either, you know, failed to fulfil their probation limits and had therefore ended up back inside. She wasn't able to give us a figure. What do you see?
Yeah, it really frustrates me when politicians avoid answering the question. She was very evasive, wasn't she? I know, because I speak to people on the front line who are dealing with this, our probation colleagues, and they're telling me that in some areas the recall rate is as high as 50%, but on average it's 40% recall rate, just as it was with the last wave.
So let's spell out what that means. A prison lets 100 go out early, but you're saying that half of them could then be back in prison, so it's only a a freeing up of 50 spaces, not 100.
Yeah, that's correct. And what you've got to understand is the reception prisons, the big inner-city Victorian prisons that are feeling under the pressure, they could be releasing 60 prisoners today, and by Friday they'll have 60 prisoners back because the courts will sentence people and some will get recalled.
Mark Fairhurst, we'll wait and see how today's releases go. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.